The new neighborhood looked perfect, but something about it was wrong. The lawns were neat, the mailboxes identical, the silence too heavy, like sound itself was being swallowed. Then came the doorbell. Not the ordinary plastic one, but the old brass button with strange carvings, cold and lifeless under my thumb. The first time it rang at exactly 3:11 a.m., the sound wasn't human. It was a metallic chime that echoed inside my bones. And my mother's terrified whisper still claws at me, "If you ever hear it again, never ever answer it." But curiosity is a poison. And when I opened that door, something else came in. Something that wears my face. Who is the real me, and what have I unleashed? Before we dive in, hit that like button if you love chilling mysteries, and subscribe if you're new to this journey of shocking twists and haunting suspense, because tonight, you'll learn what happens when you answer the wrong door. Let's get into it. The new neighborhood felt wrong. On the surface, it was perfect. Manicured lawns, identical mailboxes, houses painted in tasteful, muted tones. But it was a hollow kind of perfection. The silence was too heavy. The stillness of the trees, too absolute. I remember seeing faces in the windows of the other houses just for a second, before the curtains would twitch shut. No bikes on the lawns, no basketball hoops in the driveways. It was a neighborhood holding its breath. That first dinner was a performance. Takeout pizza, paper plates, surrounded by towers of cardboard boxes. I noticed it the first day by the front door. 2 doorbells. One was a cheap plastic button, already yellowing from the sun. Below it, almost like a forgotten relic, was another. Old, tarnished brass. Intricate, swirling patterns carved into its surface. I pressed the normal one. Cheerful ding-dong. Then my thumb traced the cold, unfamiliar brass one. I pressed the button, but it didn't give way easily. It felt stiff. The first time I heard it was on our first night. The digital clock on my nightstand glows the faded red 3:11 a.m. The sound sliced through the silence. Not a ding-dong. A metallic, dissonant chime. It echoed in a way that didn't make sense. A single, unnatural note that hung in the air and vibrated in my bones. I crept into the hallway. The air was cold. My parents stood in the dim light of their room, completely still. Their bodies are rigid. Their faces were tense in a way I'd never seen. I had her grip tight on my arm, her voice a desperate whisper. "If you ever hear that sound again, you never, ever answer it. Promise me." A few days later, I met Mrs. Peterson from next door, pale, watery eyes, rusty pruning shears in her hands, snipping the heads off dead roses. "The Millers lived there before you," she rasped. "Nice family. One day they were just gone. This neighborhood, it listens. And your house, it tests you. It wants to see if you'll listen back." Her gaze sharpened. She didn't ask my name. She just looked at our front door. "They don't tell you the stories, do they? People here forget things. Sometimes they disappear. It always starts the same way." She stepped closer. "You haven't answered the second door, have you? Don't get curious. If you open that door, it comes in." She didn't explain what it was. She didn't have to. Her warning became a sickness in my mind. I searched online, town history, old news, disappearances. Nothing. It was a town without a past. That night, I was waiting. 3:11 a.m. The chime. Louder this time. More insistent. The glass of water on my nightstand trembled. Tiny ripples with every metallic note. It wasn't just a sound. It was a force. Fear is powerful, but curiosity is poison. The chiming was constant, maddening. I saw the light under my parents' door. They were awake, listening, doing nothing. That scared me most of all. I had to know. Each step down the staircase was a gunshot in the silent house. Moonlight cast long skeletal shadows. My reflection in a dark picture frame startled me. The brass doorbell was humming. Alive. Whispers, my mother's warning, Mrs. Peterson's words, were nothing against the roar of the chime. My hand, shaking, turned the lock. I opened it, just a crack. The porch was empty. Silent street, cold blue street lamp, nothing, then everything. A blast of frigid air, damp soil, electricity. The world took a breath and held it, then nothing. The chime stopped. 3 days. Gone. Not sleep. A nightmare. flashes, impossible cold, the taste of earth, whispers in a language not human, my own face staring back at me from the darkness. I woke in my bed, sunlight streaming, but my head was fog. My phone 3 days later. Texts I didn't remember sending. Downstairs, my parents, perfectly normal, too normal. When I confronted them, my mom sighed. Not this again, a bad dream. The attic, dust, cobwebs. I found a box. Inside, a child's drawing. A smiling family of 3 in front of our house. Next to them, a tall, dark figure scribbled in black crayon. On the back, in shaky handwriting, it took my smile. At school, things cracked. Friends flinched at me, whispered, "I swear I saw you outside my house last night, just staring." But I hadn't been. Had I? A failed history paper. Work I never did. Later, at home, I saw her from my window across the street. It was me. Perfect. Moving boxes into the empty house. She looked up, tucked her hair behind her ear, tapped her temple twice. My habit. Inside my own room, it wasn't mine anymore. Walls blank, clothes folded with military precision. "Doesn't this look better? I'm proud of you." She was praising a stranger. I ran to Mrs. Peterson. Her house, dark, symbols painted on the sills. "It's a cuckoo," she whispered, "an old thing, pushes one out, takes the nest. It doesn't eat food, it eats life, memories, love. Your parents will be hollow, happy shells." That night, I crossed the street. She was waiting on the porch, her eyes dark, flat pits. "Who are you?" I demanded. Her smile never wavered. "What are you talking about? I live here now." "You're not me," I screamed. She tilted her head, my gesture, but alien. She stepped closer. "I'm the real one. You're the one who opened the second door." The brass button on my old door pulsed with red light. Not a doorbell, a key, an invitation, and I had given it to the wrong thing. As she walked inside, the porch light flickered and died. I felt myself growing cold, transparent, a ghost in my own life. My parents at the table, food still on their plates. It sat in my chair. "I'm back," it said in my voice. Mom smiled. Empty. Photographs replaced. My face gone. Its smile in my place. I thought fading would mean silence, peace, but instead it meant seeing more. When the world stopped seeing me, I started seeing the truth. The neighborhood was full of them. Every house, every window that once looked empty, wasn't. Families sitting at dinner tables, their food rotting in front of them, children playing in backyards that no longer existed, a man mowing the same strip of grass again and again for eternity. The television turned on by itself. Static hissed across the screen, but within the static I heard whispers, voices calling my name layered over each other, as if the entire neighborhood was speaking through the void. I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror, but it didn't move when I did. Its eyes followed me, unblinking, lips curling into a smile I hadn't given. From the ceiling above I heard crawling, not footsteps, something dragging itself, scraping nails across wood, moving slowly, deliberately, circling above me, pulling. At the end of the hallway, a door appeared where there hadn't been one before. Its wood pulsed like living flesh, and an eye opened in the center, watching me breathe. The whispers grew louder. I realized it was the neighbors, every single one of them standing outside, chanting in unison. Their mouths moved, but no sound came. The sound was only in my head. Then came the knock, not on the door, but from inside the walls. Slow, heavy, patient. It was already here, waiting. The walls began to breathe. With every inhale, the wallpaper stretched and bulged. With every exhale, it groaned and cracked. The house was alive, and it was hungry. I turned toward the window. One of the neighbors stood outside, smiling too wide, face pale under the streetlight. His smile split open until it wasn't a smile anymore. It was a wound. The grandfather clock in the corner struck once, twice, then froze at 3:11. Time itself had stopped, but the whispers kept moving forward. From every corner, shadows began to gather. They slid across the floor like liquid, pooling together, stretching upward into something that had too many limbs to be human. A child's laughter echoed in the silence. I looked around, but there was no child, only the mirror, and this time my reflection wasn't alone. A small hand pressed against the glass from the other side. The doorbell rang again, not once, not twice, but continuously, ringing faster and faster, overlapping until it became a single. The silence returned, but it wasn't empty. It crawled across my skin like insects. Every breath I took sounded stolen, like I was breathing someone else's air. My phone buzzed, unknown number. I answered, and what came through wasn't a voice. It was the sound of my own breathing, but a second slower, as if the house was repeating me. On the wall, the family portrait had changed. Their painted faces were no longer smiling. They were staring at me, eyes following me across the room, mouths slightly open as if whispering my name. The basement door rattled violently, chains clinking from the other side. Something wanted out, or worse, something wanted me in. A single drop of blood fell from the ceiling, landing on my hand. I looked up and saw nothing, but the ceiling pulsed like a vein about to burst. When I turned back, the front door was wide open. Beyond it, the neighborhood looked wrong. The houses were twisted, the sky torn open, and everyone outside was staring, waiting. And the cuckoos, the things that wore their faces, lived on, thriving in their place. They waved at one another, traded pleasantries across driveways, smiled those two wide smiles. To anyone passing through, it looked normal, perfect even. But to me, it was a masquerade of predators, each one feeding slowly, patiently on what had once been human. Mrs. Peterson was right. She wasn't the only one left. She was just the only one who remembered. And me, I wasn't even a memory anymore. I was the silence, the missing piece, the hole where someone used to be. I should have let go, but I couldn't. Something still bound me to that house, to the doorbell that started it all. At 3:11 a.m., I drifted back to it, powerless, watching as its faint red glow pulsed like a heartbeat. Calling, always calling. And then I realized it wasn't calling me anymore, it was calling the next one. At first I thought the house had chosen me, but I was wrong. It doesn't choose, it waits. Every night at exactly 3:11 a.m., the doorbell rings again. Not for me, not for the Petersons, not for the echoes, for whoever is listening. Maybe you'll hear it tonight. A hollow chime that doesn't belong in your home. It won't sound like your own doorbell. It will sound older, heavier, like brass pressed by a cold hand. And when you do, knock, don't answer. Because if you do, the neighborhood will know your name. And by tomorrow, you'll just be another perfect lawn, another silent window, another missing piece of a story that never ends. And when you fade, you see them. The watchers. They don't move like us. They don't speak like us, but they wear our faces like masks stretched too tight, and at night, they gather on the lawns, smiling, waiting for the next doorbell to ring. They say the sound of the doorbell never fades. Even if you run, it follows. The chime doesn't echo through the streets. It echoes inside you. You hear it in the silence, in your sleep, in the spaces between your own heartbeat. And when you finally answer the door, you don't open it to let something in. You open it to let yourself out. The house was never mine. It was waiting for someone like me every step I took, every breath I drew inside those walls. It was recording me, learning me, until I wasn't a guest anymore. And when the next family moves in, I'll be here, waiting, smiling, until the doorbell rings again. They say every neighborhood has eyes, but these aren't neighbors. Behind the curtains, faces don't blink, they don't breathe, they only watch. Sometimes I see them when I close my eyes, rows of silent figures pressed against glass, staring through endless windows. They don't move when you wave, they don't answer when you scream, but the moment you look away, you find yourself standing in the wrong house. The doorbell is only the beginning. It's not a sound, it's a summons. Every chime pulls you further into the pattern. The streets folding back onto themselves, the houses repeat, each identical yet slightly off. I drifted into the street. Another door will open, another will be locked, another voice added to the quiet, forever. And that's where our story ends. For now. I hope you truly enjoyed this journey. Tell me, what stood out to you most, and what lesson did you take away? Drop it in the comments. I love reading them. Another powerful story is coming in just a few days. Hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching and for being part of this community. Until next time, stay curious,